Well, hey guys, Chad here, and somewhere amongst the mess here on the bench is our QAV 250. Now I've had it about a week and a half, and I've had a few flying days out there dodging the wind and the bad weather. The first thing I just have to say about this thing is it takes a beating coming from the world of NASA and GPS flying and my little simple copters flying those around with the KK2. This thing's a totally different beast. It's got a lot of power and it's hard to control sometimes. I've went through a lot of props. I definitely recommend to pick up a lot of props when you get one of these. The other thing is I recommend the nylon inserted lock nuts. That way you can secure down your props and get those on an awful lot easier than using something like this that comes with most motors that you need a tool with. So I found a few things that I love and a few things that drive me crazy. The biggest thing that I love that I did was put my makeshift landing gear on here. Today during a crash that I'm going to put on the end of this video, the only thing that I broke was a prop and one of my landing gear, which are zip tied, popped off. So that's a bonus. The frame itself is durable, still looks like brand new after I clean the grass out of it every now and then. Still trying to work out something with my antennas. I got some longer ones coming. I'm probably going to do some straw things right here. Try to get them at 90 degrees. Not flying too far away with this thing, so really don't have to worry about signal strength, but it's nice to know just whenever I get the confidence and skills enough to take it into trees and parks and stuff like that. So Mobius footage is great with just a Velcro strap and the included vibration dampener, nearly jello free. That looks great. The sweet spot for batteries is unfortunately going to be a 13 or 1500 milliamp battery, because the larger the battery that you have, the more it's going to dip because your center of gravity is off. Then you need to trim out with your ACC trim to bring the gyros back this way. So if you're swapping back and forth between, say, a 13 and an 1800, just that extra 20 to 30 grams will throw off the level calibrations and you'll have to re-level it. So what I've been doing is with the FrSky Taranis is I've been going in and setting up the profiles. So basically I have different profiles set up with different PID settings to test. Along with those different PID settings, I have different ACC trims that it saves for different battery sizes. So it sounds kind of complicated, especially if you're new to all this and programming, an ACE32 or CC3D or whatever. But once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. The biggest thing that I've done is when it comes to PID settings, I have researched all these people's settings online and I plugged them all in and none of them work well for me. The one thing that I did find was running the stock PIDs as they come in the NAS 32 works the best. And to get your craft to a point where you can control it and start to build confidence, you really need to do all of that inside of your remote. So
welcome to FrSky.
If we take a look at the Taranis here,
0 dB, medium rates, throttle hold, self-level mixing mode.
Let's see. Let me go over here. Get you guys zoomed in here so you can see this.
0 dB.
And we'll turn that off. Yeah, if you look, what I did is on a switch, I set up 3 different rate modes
0.
on the aileron and elevator. And basically, what I have is I'm going off of somebody's wiki that they had on there. I have basically 3 different settings with 3 different expos. The full rate mode 100 with a little bit of expo is basically you still need to keep that in there
1 second.
because if you don't have a full rate set up in your remote, then when you turn the throttle off, you won't be able to do your ACC trims. So you have to have one of your rates be at 100. Now, my other rates I have at 42 with an expo of 75 and 60 with an expo of 60. And I pretty
1
much today
second.
have been flying with just the 60 at the expo of 60. The 42 with the expo of 75, the person that recommended these states that he uses it for landing and everything. But he's kind of was kind of a beginner too when he put all that stuff out. And he says this 60 and 60, pretty much is what's given him his kind of more nozzle-like
3
feel.
seconds.
And then whenever you get to the point of being able to get more control of it, then you can start to increase that rate so you'll have, more movement in both directions. But believe me, at 60, it's still fine. I may even drop it down to 50. So as far as getting the craft and learning how to fly it, I think that's pretty much the most important way to go to begin with.
0.
The other important thing to do is to set yourself a throttle curve that looks something a little similar to that, not your normal linear line that we're used to, because that way you have kind of a tighter range in the middle, so you can control your throttle a lot better. So those are basically the big pointers I can say right off the bat
0.
that have helped me learn to fly this thing a little bit better. Like I said, I've only had 3 outings. The first one I posted video and wasn't very pretty. You guys saw that. The second one I didn't get any video. This third one I just went out today. I had a little problem with one of my battery connectors broke, so I couldn't fire up the FPV system. So I was doing it all line of sight, and it looked like I was flying a lot better than what it looks like on the video. But one thing I can tell you is with the lower rates and all that expo in there, I had a way more control and way more of a locked-in feeling on it. I got myself out of a couple bad situations. One situation at the end of the video you'll see I didn't get myself out of just because, from where I was standing, it looked like I had enough room and enough altitude, to clear the tree, but obviously I didn't. But as hard as I smacked the tree, well, really, it was kind of like a bush, but then I hit the ground. The only thing, like I said, is I broke a prop and one of my landing gear popped off. Actually, one of my landing gear popped off earlier on in the flight during a second crash. But 5 battery packs, 2 crashes. That is better than the first couple times I had this thing out, which were multiple crashes during one flight. Now, I'm not sure how things are going to work when I go back to FPV, because flying FPV is, it's challenging whenever you're flying something like this. To me, it is, at least when you're trying to learn, because I don't use goggles either, because I need to be able to see the craft at all times. I like to watch them take off and land, and just kind of have that visibility. Some people love being locked in that immersive feel. I love the screen. I have a 12-inch screen and a 7, and they work just fine for me. The 5.8 video has been rock solid. The Breeze OSD is rock solid. Can't recommend that thing enough. It's the perfect weight for this. You know, here's the OSD, here's your GPS. I have that all covered in tape and stuff because the carbon fiber will conduct if anything touches it. So that's about it. I'm gonna switch over to flight video. Thanks for everything. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. Got any questions, let me know, and stay tuned for the flight footage.
Medium rates, high rates. Throttle active, 2 seconds. Throttle hold. Throttle active.
Ha ha ha!